Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Friday, November 22nd, which marks my 28th weeks in my pregnancy, which is the beginning of my third trimester. It's so crazy, time flies by so quickly. But I'm doing really good. The boys are doing really good. So I'm just gonna go over kind of like the beginning of my whole pregnancy, just because I never really made like a video on it. And I know my first video I kind of just went over like me having twins and like the complications that can come with having twins. And so I'm going to kind of just start from the beginning of my pregnancy up until now. So technically, I got pregnant at the end of May of 2019, and I found out June 9th, 2019 that I was pregnant. And by that time, I was already 4 weeks along, so about a month. And I found out I was a month long 2 days after I found out I was pregnant. I was honestly really happy that I found out really early, just because of precautions. I mean, you never know. I guess it's just always better to find out early, just because, I mean, who wouldn't want to know that they're pregnant so soon, just so you can take care of yourself and, make sure things are going good really early, because the first trimester definitely is the more sensitive one, I guess you can say. Like a lot of things can go wrong, and I was just really happy that I found out sooner than later. So I really didn't have symptoms before I found out I was pregnant, just because I found out really early, and usually sometimes a lot of women don't get pregnancy symptoms until like maybe like 2 months or so. But Alex did notice I was really moody before I even found out. And when we found out, he was like, "Oh, that makes sense. You were really moody and always tired, like really early." And it was just kind of weird to me, because I was like, no, I've always been like a sleepyhead. So I've always just loved to go to sleep. So I didn't really notice anything. And I just thought I was being bipolar, or like, I just thought, people were just getting on my nerves more than usual. So I really didn't notice my mood swings. Yeah, about 2 months into my pregnancy, I got really bad. Or not exactly 2 months. Yeah, like 2 months, like the fifth week. So like a week after I found out I was pregnant, I just started throwing up everything. I lost a lot of weight. I'm already really small, and I don't weigh much. The most I've weighed in my entire life is 110, and I was 108 by the time I found out I was pregnant, and I lost all that. I wasn't able to eat anything. Even if I didn't eat anything, I was just throwing up water, and it was just horrible. And my throat got swollen from just throwing up all the time, and just being so nauseous. It was really bad. So I lost all that weight, and I went down to 99 pounds. It was pretty scary for me, knowing that I can't, I have to weigh I have to weigh a good amount in order to maintain carrying a baby. So I was a little nervous. I was trying not to stress about it, and I ended up just drinking a whole bunch of like Ensure bottles. I was purely on Ensure bottles, because any kind of breakfast, mostly breakfast, the boys, I guess, they just didn't like. And it was really confusing for me, because they ended up getting really picky in my second trimester. Because once I hit my second trimester, I calmed down a lot. I was able to eat mostly everything, just certain breakfasts I couldn't eat, like eggs, sausage, like hot dogs, just things like that. Like they were a little bit picky, and I was just kind of like, well, there is two of them. What if one likes something and the other one doesn't? And it was annoying, because it was hard to find a good breakfast that they liked, and I mostly ate, like eggs and stuff like that. So I was eating a lot of oatmeal and just like plain bread, and like even peanut butter and jelly, like they wouldn't like. Well, just peanut butter, because I don't eat jelly, but whatever. So it was really rough, the first few months. And like I said, once I hit my second trimester, everything kind of started to calm down. But also, I wasn't living in the own comfort of my home either. And I honestly believe that, being pregnant, you have to be comfortable with where you're at. And I feel like my comfort just played a part in my sickness as well. Me not living in my own home was so uncomfortable for me. Like, yeah, I had Alex there with me, living with him and his family, but it was different. It was the first time I ever really technically moved out. I stayed there for about a month, because situations kind of came up, and we moved back. We moved back with my grandparents, and I just feel better. Yeah, so that was like the beginning of my second trimester. And I noticed things right away. Like, my body just went back to normal. I was gaining my weight much easier, and I was completely off the Ensure bottles. And I remember one time, Alex, in the middle of the night, I would wake up really thirsty, and I wanted the Ensure bottle, which is basically chocolate milk with like a whole bunch of like nutritions and stuff. And Alex was so tired, he got me one that I accidentally left in the fridge that was expired and rotten and like gross. And it's like 3 a.m. and I'm checking, and I just drank it really quick, and I took one gulp, and it was just disgusting, and I threw up everywhere. It was just so bad. After that, I was like, I can't. Even if the Ensure bottle is like brand new, like, I'm not gonna drink it. And then from there, like, I just started eating way better and slowly gaining my weight back. So right now I weigh about 125 pounds, and the boys honestly play a big part in my weight, just because, they weigh their own amount. And honestly, like, I'm all like, hold on. See, I am all belly. And I did gain some weight, like, in my thighs, mostly, like in that area. So I did gain, I'm on track and weight and stuff. And I have an appointment next week, the week of Thanksgiving, so in a few days. I have 2 appointments. One will be with my specialist, and then one will be with my OB. And I started seeing my specialist for twins, I believe at like 11 weeks or so, just because the sooner the better to start monitoring the twins. And I believe I have monodi twins, which are identical twins, and my twins share a placenta and have their own separate sacs, which I am really thankful for, because most twins that end up sharing the same sac, that has way more complications than, them sharing separate sacs. And but there still are complications with twins in general, or with any pregnancy. Them sharing the same placenta, that means they have to share like the same, like, they have to share, I think, blood flow and like a water supply or something like that. Like, I think it's like the atomic fluid. Like, they both have to make sure, I have to make sure that they're both getting the same amount. And so I'm seen every 2 weeks, so every other week for monitoring. I'm seen every 2 weeks. Yeah, so every other week by my specialist to monitor the boys, like heart rate and blood flow and growth and just every little thing. I'm there for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They have to do each twin at a time and get their measurements. And I love seeing them every 2 weeks. So I'm taking baby aspirin and iron, and I believe supplement B or something. I don't know. Sorry, I should know, but I forget. I have to look. But anyways, so I'm on iron just because I believe like a month ago or so I had anemia, and I have anemia like in the past, but it went away, and then it came back, which is kind of normal in pregnancies. It's not the best thing to have, but it is, it's kind of common. So they just put me on iron. And if my anemia doesn't go away by the time I'm supposed to deliver, like, a few weeks before that, then I'm gonna have to do a blood transfusion when I'm giving birth or something, which is kind of scary. So next week I think I would find out if it's gone away, and then just kind of keep taking my medicine for it just so it stays away. And then my baby aspirin, which is the lowest dose of aspirin, is to help with just to kind of like avoid preeclampsia and like blood clots and stuff, just kind of keep the blood flow going. Good for me and the babies. I'm out of breath. Oh my gosh. These boys really push and move a lot, and not surprised because I'm sure they want some room away from each other, which is so funny because like my belly will get, you know, I have a normal round belly, but when one of the boys doesn't want to be by each other, or they're stretching or doing whatever they're doing in there, one side's kind of like popping out. Or like when they both move away, my belly button, it like craters in. It's just so weird, and it's just so funny. So I have always slept on my stomach since I was a little girl, and it's just amazing and so comforting to sleep on your tummy. But the thing is, I can't sleep on my belly anymore. Obviously, at a certain point, you kind of just have to stop. I honestly don't remember what, like how many weeks or how far along you are. They tell you not to sleep on your belly. But right when I found out, I was like, I'm gonna get in the habit of not sleeping on my stomach. So I was always on my sides, and it was the most uncomfortablest thing I've ever had to do in my life. And honestly, I'm still not used to it, especially now that I'm bigger. I feel like I'm like putting pressure on them, but I'm not. They're fine. It's just really uncomfortable for me. I sleep mostly on my left side because I read that it's preferred in pregnancy to sleep on your left, just because it helps keep that pressure off of your liver, and it also helps with like the blood flow to like the babies and my heart and my uterus and all that stuff. It just helps with better blood flow, and I think my kidneys too or something like that. I don't know body parts. I don't know which side's on which. And so I still sleep on my left, but honestly, like they say not to really like to avoid sleeping on your back, to like avoid like back pain, but I find it a little bit more comforting for me to lay on my back, just because I have this pain on the right side of my hip and leg. There's a name for it, I can't pronounce it. It's like something nerve pain. It's like SC, sciatic nerve pain or something like that. And it's either my nerve or something is really wrong with like one of my bones back there or something, but I really believe it's my nerve, just because the way that my leg acts up, it's like it's in my butt cheek basically, and my hip, and it's like this pain there, as if my bones are getting pulled out of my skin or something, like I'm getting my legs ripped out. And the pain moves down all to my right leg, and it hurts my shins. It's like really, really bad shin splints, or like really bad knee pain, and then my feet hurt. And but it's only on my right leg, so I try to avoid sleeping on my right, but sometimes I have to. But I use a pillow to like prop it up, but nothing works. Honestly, that's like the only like big thing I've had this entire pregnancy, is just that leg pain. It started off pretty soon, like really early in my pregnancy. I believe when I really started popping, so actually in the middle of my pregnancy, sorry, like mid of my second trimester, I really got that pain, and it is like a pain I've never felt before in my life. It's horrible. I would never wish this upon anybody. Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I wouldn't. It's really bad. And honestly, I just feel like I'm just gonna have to put up with it. I have a pregnancy app, and I love it because it's like there's discussions. It's called What to Expect, and I think that's one of the most popular. I've tried like 2 others, and I hated them. They were just so disorganized and so like it was annoying. But this one has discussions, so there's a lot of moms that are due around the time that I'm due, and then I think it's women all around the world, so it's pretty cool. It's really interesting. A lot of weird stuff you read on there, but it's really knowledgeable. if that makes sense. Like, it helps me learn. And I love it. And I was talking about my pain on there. A lot of women get it. It's just because of like the weight. And I think maybe I have it because maybe one of the boys is on it. And the boys have always been head down really early in my pregnancy. They've always been head down. At one point they were laying sideways. And I think after that they were just like, I'm gonna get in position because I know I'm not gonna have any room later on to kind of move. So I'm so happy that they've been head down for so long, because I think in a normal pregnancy with having one baby, they expect them to be positioned head down. I believe it's 36 weeks, or within 30 weeks and after, something like that. Every pregnancy is a little bit different. Some doctors will recommend, different times, what they would like to see in the pregnancies. But for me, since I have 2 babies, they recommend them to be down by 28 weeks, which I'm 28 weeks today, and they're still, like, I feel like I would know if they moved out of that position, just because, like, I already kind of know their kicks. They mostly, like, their kicks are, like, a little bit more up here. Those are their kicks, and their punches are more down. And I just kind of know already. Yeah, it's weird. I guess it's like a mom thing. Hearing that twins have to be born earlier due to complications or having to get a C-section was really scary. Honestly, a lot of people I was like really nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm small, like, what if I have to get a C-section because I can't fit them in there or something? I don't know. I was like, what if I don't take care of them good? And it's a little scary, but honestly, during this whole pregnancy, I kind of just been really positive about it, and I feel like it's definitely a mental thing, and definitely, like, I can only do so much carrying the twins, but they're definitely in God's hands. He's doing what I can't do. So it's just, like, putting my trust in him in this whole thing. And I've honestly, overall, I would say my pregnancy is so beautiful and so not that rough. I expected it to be pretty rough, because the boys have been great from the beginning, and no signs of any complications. They're on track, and they move around great. They love to hear me sing and laugh. They love to hear music. They love music. So I just think overall this pregnancy is going so great. I would definitely keep you guys updated towards the end if things do change. And when they get here, of course, you guys will be seeing that. And I'll just do my best to keep you guys updated a little bit more. But so far, so good. I probably will have them around 36 to 38 weeks, just because they are twins. But they do want to try to keep them in there for a good amount of time. But I don't believe I will do the full 40 weeks, a full term, just because I'm not having one baby, and we don't want to risk anything. But it would have been nice to have them on their exact due date, which is Valentine's Day, and my specialist believes that we can, but I don't think so, just because that is full term and that's kind of pushing it. So the boys might be here a little sooner than we thought, guys. So mid-February might not be it. It'll probably be the end of January or the first week or 2 in February. But we'll definitely keep you guys updated. And thank you guys so much for just even wanting to share this little experience with me.